Okay, welcome to question 3 of the Year 12 PPE. Read the note at the top because this is becoming quite common now in exam questions. So if it says this, really you don't want to be using the calculator, and the marks are going to be given for showing stages in your working. Okay, so we've got an algebraic problem here, and the first thing we're going to do is rearrange it to make all the x terms on one side. Okay, so I'm going to move the 2x to the left, so I'm going to have x root 2. I'm going to take away the 2x, and I'm going to add the root 18 to both sides, so I end up with this, just a rearrangement. Okay, and now I'm going to factorize out the x. Okay, so that gives me root 2 minus 2, like that, and that equals root 18. And now I just divide both sides by root 2 minus 2. So I can say that x equals root 18, okay, on the top, and underneath I've got root 2 minus 2, okay, like that. And make sure your square root sign stops there because it's just the 2 that you're rooting there. Okay, and then we need to multiply that by root 2 plus 2 over root 2 plus 2. Okay, and that will rationalize the denominator. Okay, which we will need to do if we're going to do this properly and give the answer in simplest form, which is what it's asking for here. Okay, so you can write that down straight afterwards. That's a standard step. No calculators needed or should be used at all, really. And if we work this out, we get on the top line that x equals root 36. I'll write it in full. Okay, obviously that's 6, but we're going to put root 36. Okay, that's the root 18 times the root 2, and we're going to times it by 6 root 2, so we're going to add rather 6 root 2. Okay, and that comes from 2 lots of root 18, okay, which is 2 lots of root 9 root 2, which is 2 lots of 3 root 2, which is where the 6 root 2 comes from. And underneath, if you multiply out this pair here, you will end up with just minus 2. Okay, because the irrational parts cancel out. And it gives you that, well, you just need to look for common factors in there, and you've got a common factor of 2 in the 6's and in the 6 there. Okay, that's a 6. You've got a 6 here and a minus 2. So if you just divide everything down, that will give you x is negative of 3. So it will give you that x equals negative of 3 plus 3 root 2. Okay, and then you might want to separate out those two terms or take out the 3 and give you negative 3, okay, and in brackets 1 plus root 2, okay, or any equivalent simplified down to that level. Okay, and then we come on to part 2. I'll do that over here. Okay, I'll just highlight that answer there. And in fact, before we move on, I will just say that could be written as negative 3 minus 3 root 2. Okay, generally it's preferred to have no brackets, so that would be a better answer, in fact, for that one. Okay, now part 2 is a problem, you might look at that and think, oh, well, that could be done with logarithms. Well, actually it could, but you need to be mindful of this instruction about relying on calculator technology, because if you use logs, you're going to have to take logs of both sides in some base. You could put the 2x minus 5 to the front, and then you could divide the log of 1 over 2 root 2 by the log of 8, and then solve the equation 2x minus 5 equals that number. It does work out quite nicely, but it's relying on the calculator. So I want to use a more conventional method, and actually this is quite a simple question if you spot that 8 is the same as 2 cubed. Okay, because what you've really got here is this, haven't you? You've got 8 to the power of 2x minus 5. Okay, and that is equivalent to, and you should know that 1 over 2 root 2 is the same as 1 over 2 to the power of 1.5. Okay, because root 2 is 2 to the half, that's 2 to the 1, so it's 2 to the 1.5. Okay, and that's the same as 2 to the power of negative 3 halves. Okay, that's GCSE rules of indices. Okay, and now all you've got to do is rewrite the 8 as 2 cubed. Okay, so underneath that, or next to that maybe, use this space here, I could write that as 2 cubed instead of 8, and the 2 cubed is raised to the power of, I'll put it in brackets like that, that's raised to the power of 2x minus 5, okay, and that equals 2 to the power of negative 3 over 2, okay, and then I've got to just multiply this out, because if you've got a power to a power, you just multiply it out. So it follows from that 2 to the power of 6x minus 15 is equal to 2 to the power of negative 3 over 2. Okay, and because you've got a common base of 2, you can just remove it, and you can say that it logically follows that 6x minus 15, okay, in other words, the power of the left-hand 2 must be the same as the power of the right-hand 2. And then you've just got to solve that linear equation. Okay, so double both sides to get 12x. Okay, so what have we got here? We've got 12x minus 30 equals minus 3. Okay, add the 30 to both sides. 12x equals 27. Okay, 12x equals 27. So x is 27 twelfths. Okay, so x equals 27 over 12, which of course simplifies to 9 over 4. 2 1/4 basically, 9 quarters. Okay, so it's a question that didn't require logs, it didn't require the calculator, and it was basically using the top end of GCSE skills with indices and certs. Okay.